Hello everyone, my name is Alex. I decided to make a Chibi eye tutorial. Nobody really asked for this, but I decided, hey, why not? So here we go. Let's just go ahead and get started. If you're here for this tutorial, I just want to let you know up front that my Chibi eyes are very, very simplistic. If you're here for stuff like this, or this, or this, you might want to click on a different tutorial because I am not about that life. So the first thing I want to talk about is the stabilizer tool up here. If you go ahead and you click on it, you'll see all these different kinds of numbers that drop down. And basically what it does is it makes your lines smoother the deeper down you go. So let's say like 15, the line moves a lot slower. It lags the input, and that's how I usually use to line art my stuff. I've talked about it in a different tutorial. The stabilizer tool is your friend. Use whatever number that you feel is correct and that you feel will help you out the most. Okay, so we've opened up Tool SAI, and I usually start at a stabilizer that's very, very low, so my lines are fast, just for the sketch process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw two Chibi female eyes. Because I guess they're more flashy than male eyes. They have eyelashes and stuff like that. So what I typically do is I start with the left eye and I kind of make like a little arch and then kind of put this thing right here. It's like the end of the eyeball here. If you're lazy like me, you can also, just do this whole thing, Control-C, copy, and then Control-V and paste it, and then go around and flip it horizontally to kind of make the same exact shape. Let me erase this because I find that it works pretty well, except sometimes that the proportions could be off. I don't do it that often, but whenever I do it, it's because I am lazy and I don't feel like messing around flipping the canvas back and forth, back and forth. Anyways, so once you've got these two basic shapes down, you're going to want to start filling in the bottom. This is just a sketch, and these don't really look like Chibi eyes, so I should make them a little bit bigger. And yeah, there we go. Now we're getting Moe Kyun on us. There we go. So Chibi eyes are usually really big, very expressive, as most eyes tend to be, and the way that I draw them is I don't draw them too close together because I leave space for the mouth to be just slightly in between kind of the eyes, because I draw like the heads really small or whatever, it really ups the cute factor, and if that's what you're here for, well then you're in luck, I guess. When it comes to girl eyes for chibis, I usually rotate the canvas a little bit just because it gives me a better angle, and I start drawing like the eyelashes. And what I do is I kind of go out like this and then kind of go up like this and fill in that part. I'm using a regular pen tool. I should have said that a lot earlier. It's just for sketching. It's not for line art. It's just for sketching, and I use it to color in my flat colors and all that. I gotta make sure that my pupils, when I draw them, are really, really big and not cross-eyed. I try to make them look as cute as possible whenever I can. This is just a sketch. This eye is a little bit smaller. Yeah, I'm happy with that. This is just a sketch. Once you're happy with your sketch, what you're going to do is you're going to go over here and click on this button to make a new layer, and then you're going to go back to layer 1 and lower the opacity. It makes things much easier if you're tracing. Now, to start off, I use a black, just plain old black, and I get my inking pen out, and the tool settings are going to be on the screen. Because this is a bigger canvas, I'm going to use a bigger size, okay? And then when it comes to line art, I go to the stabilizer tool and I drop it down to maybe like 10 through 15 or maybe even S1 sometimes, depending on the drawing. So you're just going to start kind of line arting, and don't be afraid to kind of go off of your sketch a little bit. It's always okay to go back and erase and add different details that you didn't add in the sketch. Whenever I sketch, I don't really draw all the details all at once because it just makes the process a lot quicker. You want to use nice long strokes and erase your mistakes here. Let's see. And using the bucket tool, we're gonna fill that guy in. Make sure that we've got all places filled. I'm gonna do the lazy route. I'm gonna go ahead and copy, Control C. Oops, I moved it. And then Control V, and it'll pop up over here in a new layer. Hit my transform tool, bam, hit flip horizontally, and then move that crap over. There we go. Looks a lot better. You get that ink pen in and just kind of making sweeping motions with your wrists, kind of just winging it, I guess. I might even add like a little third one here. And that looks good to me. Yep, there you go. That looks perfect. And I'm going to do the same exact thing because I am not confident in my skills at this point to say that I'll make them exactly the same. And then I move that crap over here and just kind of make sure they're about the same. Yeah, right there. Make sure that nothing, there you go. And again, I merge all the layers onto that first layer. So now we have our eyelashes done. And this is very important. You're going to want to do everything else on a separate layer, because when we go to color, I usually make the eyelashes kind of two-toned. It should look like this if you're doing female eyes. If you're doing male eyes, you're obviously not going to want to be as exaggerated with your eyelashes or as thick. Add a new layer, and depending on what stabilizer settings you are at, this could be difficult or it could be great. I might lower it even further to make it a little bit easier for me. You're kind of you're not like making an exact circle. You're kind of making like an egg shape. And what I do is at the corners of the pupil, I kind of thicken it right here. Kind of to make it a little bit more, give it more depth. It also kind of ups the cute factor. I don't know why, and I can't explain it, but it does, and it helps. Here I go. I'm going to delete this sketch, and we're going to start coloring. Here's a little side trick that I recently found out. It's called selection source, and I never knew what the heck that was until recently, and it has saved my life and has made my drawing a lot faster. So I recommend you to use it rather than the select wand tool or any other kind of tools that you used for filling in your base colors. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit this button that says new layer set, and we're going to drag it all the way to the top. And we're going to rename it line art. Open it up and just drag everything in there so that it's all in the same set. And we close that, make a new layer, and make a new layer underneath it. This makes it so that even though the liner is on separate layers, they're gonna act as if they're all on one layer. I really don't know how to explain it that well, so I hope you bear with me. We're going to hit this magical button that says selection source, and it should turn your layer green. And we're going to go down here onto this layer, and we're going to fill in the eye whites. So because the background is white, I'm going to start off with a dark color. And I just use my regular pen tool, probably put my stabilizer back down to like maybe 6 or so, and just kind of do this here. Kind of getting it ready to fill it in with white. Now the fun thing about the selection source layer is that it's gonna make so that the bucket tool over here, you just click the bucket tool, and over here where it says target, you're gonna hit selection source. If you don't and you hit working layer and you click right here, it's going to fill up the whole canvas. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit selection source, and it's going to fill it in without having to select, without going outside of the lines. It's beautiful. I'm just going to make some adjustments here, make sure that we get every nook and cranny colored. And then we're going to hit over here preserve opacity, fill it in with white, Control F, and we've got our eye whites done. And just so you see what I'm talking about here, that's what it looks like. That's what it should look like. So we're going to name this eye whites. And you just keep going through, you make a new layer, and what color should the eyes be? How about a green color? Just fill it in with the bucket tool, and we should be all set for this guy. We're going to name this eyes. Okay, now that we have our base colors already filled in, we're going to go back to this layer and make a new one and hit clipping group. And usually when I shade my eye whites, I use like a purple color, and I just use the regular pen tool. A purple or like a blue color, not too deep purple and not too gray like that. Don't do it like gray. I'm gonna use a blue color, and I kind of make like a half horseshoe shape. We're gonna fill it in right here. Great. I might use the water tool just a little bit to kind of blend the edges, just a tiny bit. Not too much, and then maybe use a little bit of darker color, and using my fancy airbrush, I'm going to kind of, with a darker color, go by the edges a little bit, just to make it a little bit more depth, and then blur that just a little bit. It's kind of subtle, and you can't really tell the difference, but hey, if it feels good to you, do it. And the eye whites are pretty much done. Now comes the fun part. We're going to go to our eye layer, and we're going to hit a new layer and clipping group, same as before. We're going to select the color that we used. And for green, I usually shade with a slightly bluer hue. I don't know why it works, it just does. And we're going to get the pen tool, and we're going to make like a half a moon kind of shape on both sides. Now, once we've done that, we're going to hit Effect, Fringe Mode, and maybe mess around with the width. I'm using a really big canvas, and my line art is really big, so the width I chose was 2, and you can always mess around with the settings to kind of make it harder or more subtle if you'd like. That looks about right to me. And then, while we're on the same layer, we're going to make the iris here. if that's what it's called. It's not the iris, it's the pupil. God dang it. Anyway, should look something like that. Next we're going to preserve opacity and get a slightly darker color than this, and we're going to use our airbrush tool, kind of go over the top with that same circular, half circular motion. I either use water or blending or blur tool. Blur tool will work just fine. And just kind of blur it in there just a little bit. Blur, 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 blur. Okay, now it's a little bit more three-dimensional. Gonna go back to the pen tool and we're going to get a smaller size, zoom in, and barely just outline this little part right here. We're gonna do it for both eyes. And I don't like to connect it, though some people do that. I don't. I leave a little gap open. Kind of make your edge thick when you get to the bottom of the pupil and kind of thin around the sides. And then I usually cut the corner a little bit and do it like this. Just a tad. Might even go around, wrap around the eye a little bit. If it looks a little bit flat, you might want to make a new layer, another clipping group, and kind of, with the fancy air tool on a big brush, kind of go over it a little bit and then blur it just slightly again, just to make it a little bit stand out more. I might even put, no, multiply looks terrible. Kind of lower. It depends on you. You make the call. Might make it a little bit darker at the top. And water tool or blur tool, whichever one you'd like to use. Sometimes the blur works better. Sometimes the water works better. And now it looks a little bit three-dimensional. Great! We're almost done. We're going to make a new clipping group layer, and we're going to select our original eye color. We're going to kind of, for green eyes, I go slightly more yellow and a little bit brighter. And what I do now is make a big ol' like half circle. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit luminosity mode. And with the blur tool, I'm going to blur it a little bit around the edge. And then lower the opacity on that, just so that it's still there, it's still visible, but not as visible. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, we're going to make another layer. I was complaining about other eyeballs with so many layers, and look how many layers we have here. Whatever. Gonna hit screen mode, and it doesn't matter. Some people like to use different colors. I use a yellow or a lime green color for this particular eye, and with the pen tool just kind of make little dots, kind of like dot here, along kind of, I don't know how you'd call it. And then with the eraser I just kind of make some adjustments here. Doesn't really matter. You can choose this as optional or not optional. I might even like water tool it a little bit just at the top right here and kind of adjust the opacity on that, and then make a little kind of shine right here. There we go. It looks a little bit better. It's optional. I like to use it because it just adds an extra shine effect to the eye. And we're pretty much done with the inside. It should look like that. We're going to click on this line art set and make a new layer above it so that it's not inside. And this is where we're going to make our highlight. So we're going to get white, and with the regular pen tool, just draw a big old shine right there. Big old shine. And I might add another one right here. Now, we're gonna kind of make an outline on the shine. You can leave it like this if you'd like, but I've kind of stylistically decided that I liked an outline on my highlights, go figure. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hold down the control button and click on the layer. And what that does is it selects everything that's on the layer. And then we're gonna go up here to selection and hit increment. I have a shortcut for this. It's I on my keyboard, and we're gonna hit that. And we're going to make a new layer below that and fill it with, I guess, black for now. See how it kind of made a ring around it with black? It looks a little too thin for me, so I'm going to selection, increment again, and fill it again with black. There we go. It looks a little bit more poppy to me. It's optional to have this or not. I like it. Anyways, we're gonna merge the two layers. Oh no, we're not gonna merge them. Never mind. Don't follow that. Keep them on separate layers. This will be the eye shine, and this is gonna be the ring, I guess. And now we're just about done with our eye, except we're gonna go back to the line art and we're gonna soften things up a bit. So I've opened up the line art set and I click on lashes, preserve opacity, and get out my fancy airbrush. Depending on the color skin that you're working with, let's just say the skin color is this color here, we're going to basically go in like this, making circular motions to kind of blur it. And might use the blur tool actually to blur the ends a little bit. And then whatever color the eye was, I guess I'd go like around here in this section to like color select, grab that airbrush again and kind of do the ends. This makes life so much easier, and it also makes it pop, I feel like. Blurring it a little bit. Blurring it. And I might call it done there. I might not. Sometimes I need a little bit more black, I guess. You never want your line art to be fully black, in my opinion, because it just makes your drawing look flat. But I do it all the time, so don't mind me. And let's just change the background color to whatever color this was. There you go. The whole canvas is a gigantic head. There you go. It looks a little bit different now, doesn't it? Okay. So now that the lashes are, colored in, I'm gonna go to pupils, preserve opacity, and pick a color that's slightly darker. And then we're just gonna, either with the pen tool or the airbrush tool, kind of go around it here. I don't really like that. I might make it darker up at the top with the airbrush. There you go. So that way it's not black, but it still works. And the eyelid here, here's the skin color. I'm gonna probably just go over it like that. Maybe a little darker. And there we have it. Your chibi eye looks amazing. And that's basically how I do my chibi eyes. I certainly hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I know it wasn't the best and I'm kind of annoying, but I hope you liked it enough to stick around and see the end product. And I hope to make more tutorials if this was a little bit helpful for you. Thanks again for watching my stuff. Just leave a like and a comment if you'd like. I'd appreciate it. And have a good day. Bye bye.